How's everybody doing today? Great? Fantastic? All right, well, my name is Tammy Reese-Williams, and I'm the AAA nutritionist for the City of Los Angeles Department of Aging. Thank you all so much for being here and for joining us in this celebration today of the launch of our cookbook. I'm truly honored and grateful to spend this time with you guys today and celebrate the fact that this amazing book is in all 70 libraries across the city of Los Angeles. Thanks to the LA Public Library. We really appreciate that. And, you know, it's just such an honor to see some of the people in here that actually are the famous people in here that are in the actual cookbook itself. So we're going to hear all about that project. Without further ado, I would like to go back one second. For this project, I partnered with Josephine Thomason. She is a national advisor for whole child health. She's with over 20 years of expertise in child nutrition programs, policy oversight, and technical assistance. She holds a master's degree in food and nutrition and a bachelor's in multilingual, multicultural education from Florida State University. As a registered dietitian, Josephine has worked extensively with USDA, state agencies, and school districts to enhance meal programs, develop culturally inspired menus, and implement evidence-based nutrition. She's done a lot. I can go on and on about her. Specifically at Alliance for a Healthier Generation, she provides strategic guidance, professional development, and resources to schools, districts, and other organizations, ensuring alignment with federal child nutrition policies. Her work bridges policy and practice, driving impactful solutions for healthier school environments. She wishes that she could be with us today, but she is here with us in spirit. Her and I work from coast to coast, from Florida to LA to California to develop this cookbook, along with Adriana, who's in the room, and Lisette from Woodcraft Rangers, which we're going to talk more about in a minute. But I want to play a little message that came from Josephine. Again, she wishes that she could be here today, but here's her message to kind of explain a little bit more about this project.
Hello, everyone. My name is Josephine Thomason, and I have the privilege of serving as a National Nutrition Advisor with the Alliance for a Healthier Generation. I so wish I could be there in person with you today for this incredible celebration, the official launch of the From My Family to Yours cookbook into the public libraries of Los Angeles. What an exciting moment this is for your city and for the communities whose stories and flavors now fill the pages of this beautiful collection. This project has been a labor of love from the very beginning, and I feel so honored to have played a part in its journey. The idea was first born through the Healthy Food Community of Practice, specifically within its Intergenerational Food Access Pod. And it was during a convening in New Mexico that Tammy Williams and I, surrounded by passionate food justice leaders, began to ask ourselves, how can we bring generations together through food in a way that uplifts culture, connection, and community health? Woodcraft Rangers, the City of Los Angeles Department of Aging, and the Alliance for a Healthier Generation answered that call with heart and vision. And with support by the Healthy Food Community of Practice, they brought together the Intergenerational and Multicultural Cookbook Challenge to life in Los Angeles, uniting youth and older adults to share cherished family recipes that reflect the vibrant diversity of Angelenos. Thanks to that vision, and thanks to the tireless dedication of Tammy Williams at the City of Los Angeles Department of Aging, Adriana Almazan, and Lisette Milan from Woodcraft Rangers, we're not just launching a cookbook. We're launching a movement that celebrates heritage, bridges generations, and makes culture accessible at the community level. Each recipe in this collection is more than a dish. It's a story, a memory, and a bond. It's a grandmother's tamales recipe, a father's weekend stew, and a child learning how to cook a family traditional food for the first time. It's also an answer to social isolation, a step forward towards equity, and a reflection of the power we hold when we collectively pass knowledge forward. To all of today's guests, CEOs, city leaders, library staff, family and friends, Chef Mario, media representatives, and the incredible Los Angeles group of community partners, thank you. Your presence here today shows how deeply you value not only food, but the people and the stories behind it. I'm incredibly proud to witness this cookbook being placed in libraries across the city. It means more Angelenos will have the chance to feel seen, to feel heard, and to feel connected through culture and cooking. From my heart to yours, thank you for allowing me to be part of this incredible journey. Enjoy today's celebration, and as you explore this cookbook, may it nourish not just your body, but your spirit and your sense of belonging. Thank you, and have a great day.
Awesome. I hope that you enjoyed this special message from Josephine Thomason. Again, she's with the Alliance for a Healthier Generation. And between the two of us in a van, we came up with this idea to do a contest, an intergenerational multicultural cookbook challenge, just talking after a conference in New Mexico, and got together with Woodcraft Rangers, who I used to be a nutrition and fitness consultant with for 5 years, working with, at that time, 75 schools, and they've doubled since then. They're absolutely incredible. So with the partnership of Alliance for a Healthier Generation, Woodcraft Rangers After School Organization, and the City of Los Angeles Department of Aging, we were able to collaborate and come together to form this cookbook challenge. So the first thing that we did was we built a team, and we identified, so this was a group of national leaders around food equity and food insecurity. I convinced them, pretty convincing. I convinced them to create this challenge in Los Angeles region, because in order for me to do that, I do work for Los Angeles Department of Aging. For me to be involved, we had to have it right here. So I was, with a little convincing, we had that challenge here, and this is how a lot of you were able to incorporate yourselves into this challenge to be selected to be in this cookbook. Then we determined the scope of the project. We established these partnerships, worked together, and we made a plan. You could see here, just throwing out there that we are going to have a contest was not enough. We had to get out there in the streets and really promote it. So I put on my chef hat and my apron. You can see what team I represent here, the 49ers, my general manager's favorite team. He's actually a Cowboys fan. We're rivals. But put on the chef hat, took it to the streets, and put on a cooking workshop for middle school trainers, site coordinators actually, to be able to go out there to their sites and promote the challenge. So we did TKO turkey wraps, where we made these healthy turkey wraps, and oh boy, it was pretty amazing. We had a really good time with that. And we actually gave away gift cards for the top winners that had the best culinary aesthetics to the recipe, and it was really fun. Made it kind of a cool challenge. Up above, you can see we went to the congregate meal sites as well to put on cooking demos to promote the challenge. We went to Southeast High School, and we did cooking demos there, and where a lot of students were able to share their experiences around. They'd never seen a green tortilla. They thought I was crazy. They're like, a green tortilla? They thought it was rotten, but it was really a spinach wrap. But exposed them to something new, and they liked it. And, you know, in fact, the turkey wraps were such a big hit that we ended up, we ran out of the spinach wraps, and we ended up making salads, and they cleaned that up really quick. Let me tell you. Here's some more pictures that we have. You know, Manual Arts High School, which was amazing. I heard so many amazing stories about, you know, kids being home because their parents were working late, and their grandmother or grandfather was teaching them how to cook, and they were explaining these recipes. I go, great, you have a recipe to submit. So along with Adriana and Lisette and the Woodcraft Rangers team, we were taking that to the streets, making that happen at the schools, as well as you know, all of the nutrition directors out there in the field, and Kelvin, who helped out with translating, you know, with some of the senior, the seniors out there in the field that needed a little bit of help with translation, and we were able to get it done, you know, making it happen. Let's see, some more pictures here. That was probably one of the funnest parts of this entire thing to me, just being with the people. That's one thing that I miss sometimes, you know, being in the office and working at a higher level. Working with nonprofit and being out there in the field with people, there's just such a warm place in my heart for that. And just connecting with people, to me, was probably the best part of this whole experience. Then we had to assemble the cookbook. That was a challenge. I thought, you think you know how to make a book until you make a book. And that's a whole process in itself. We had a really good time doing this, but we learned a lot. We learned a lot about publishing and creating the cookbook and creating the drafts, and boy, that was a challenge in itself. But we made it happen, and then we determined the winners from all these amazing recipes that were submitted, telling stories about, you know, growing up and different foods that people experienced throughout the years of their life with, you know, the family members. And gatherings, and hearing all about that. It was so hard to make the selection of the winners for the actual cookbook. But after we did, we actually held culminations for the top high school and the top middle school who had the most participation. Top high school, top middle school, and top agency who serves older adults. And then we brought everybody together full circle in a virtual culmination, because it was really hard to bring in after school with our congregate meal programs because of the timing of it. Our congregate meal programs are usually earlier, and after school is, well, after school. So that made it a little bit challenging, so we decided to do the virtual thing. If there's anything we learned in the pandemic, is how to communicate virtually, right? And here's some of the pictures with Chef Mario, who was amazing, who is actually here today, flew all the way out here from Austin, Texas, to provide some amazing appetizers for you in our VIP reception after the event, which everybody's invited to. And boy, I can tell you, the students really love this as much as the older adults. Everybody really enjoyed having a private chef cook for them. Who doesn't like that? If I win the lottery, I know what I'm going to get. I'm going to have my own private chef, tell you that. That was just a VIP experience all in itself. So these are some of the culminations that we had at the high schools, at middle school, and also over at Pan Pacific Park with older adults. Chef making paella. Oh, if you haven't tried it, paella, this recipe is actually in the cookbook itself. Absolutely amazing. Channel 35, who's with us today, thank you, did a couple segments on our events, so wanted to share that with you. We had an intergenerational, multicultural cookbook challenge, and that was with middle school students, high school students, and older adults. We challenged them to tell stories about their heritage and their culture through recipes.
Bringing those two groups together is a really special experience, and especially over food, which everybody loves and can celebrate.
We got like a tortilla. We put sauce on it, like tomato sauce, cheese, pepperonis. It was supposed to be really bad. It came out really good, the opposite.
My favorite part was learning from different people's recipes and submitting your own story about it.
It was mainly about bringing cultures together and the recipes.
I submitted my family's recipe, pozole. It came down from many generations, I think the 10th generation. I'm excited to try the food and try new out because I've never tried this food. And just excited to be here right now.
We could develop recipes that are digitally there forever to be able to pass down from generations to come and preserve culture and tell stories.
We are at Pan Pacific Park Senior Center celebrating the Intergenerational Cookbook Challenge. It is a dual celebration of the cookbook and the reopening of the Senior Center. The LA Department of Aging launched this campaign, and so we publicized it to all of our seniors at our meal sites, encouraging them to participate, not only to share wonderful recipes, but as a way to engage with youth within the city as well. So we have that intergenerational collaboration.
We included our middle school and high school youth into this project along with our seniors because we thought it was a really important element to connect all of the generations across the board. Whether you're a kid, whether you're a senior, you still have those same connections to food and what those memories remind you of.
My grandmother always made a noodle kugel. I started making them. Somebody asked me if I changed the recipe at all, and I said no. It is exactly like my grandmother made it.
Eggplant, as you know, is the Mediterranean dish. Anywhere in the Middle East, eggplant has a part. My late mother-in-law, who had grown up in Paris and lived in Egypt where my husband was born, and so I got the recipe from her.
A lot of recipes are handed down, and that's nice.
Well, thank you all for learning a little bit about the process of how this cookbook kind of came into fruition. We're going to, and thank you Channel 35 News for being able to, connect with us and tell the story. Now we're going to switch gears and segue into our panel discussion. Panelists, if you would come join me on stage. And as they're joining in, we have... I'm going to tell you a little bit about them, a little bragging about them a little bit. We have Jaime H. Pacheco Orozco, who serves as our general manager for the City of Los Angeles Department of Aging. Wave hi to everyone, Jaime. He works to improve the quality of life, independence, health, and dignity at the city's older adult population. Prior to this appointment, he was an assistant executive director of the city's Department on Disability and has been active in the workforce development arena for the past 25 years. As a public servant, he has dedicated his time and energy to serving older adults, people with disabilities, individuals experiencing homelessness, and other marginalized populations are afforded the opportunity and provided the option to be fully integrated in society. Jaime earned both his undergraduate and graduate degrees from Yale University and has worked in the private, educational, and public sector arenas. This is Jaime. Next we have Darlene. Darlene Keehan, who's been the president and chief executive officer of St. Barnabas Senior Services, one of Los Angeles' oldest senior service agency, where she leads a 120-member team of staff and volunteers to empower more than 22,000 older adults each year to age with dignity and independence. She's an advocate for elder justice. She sits on the board of the California Collaborative for Long-Term Services and Supports, and she's presented on culturally inclusive meals at the American Society on Aging Conference and sits on the ASA's Innovation and Social Impact Advisory Council. Ms. Darlene Keehan. Next, we have Ana Campos, who has been with the Los Angeles Public Library for over 27 years. She began her career as a teen volunteer at the Exposition Park Branch Library. She has since advanced through a variety of roles to her current position as the Assistant Director of Central Library, where she helps oversee the library's subject departments, and is deeply committed to developing engaging, educational, and impactful programs that enrich the lives of the diverse communities the library serves. Ms. Ana Campos. Next, we have Julie Brooks. Julie Brooks is the CEO of Woodcraft Rangers After School Organization since 2018. She's a visionary social entrepreneur with nearly 2 decades of experience in delivering high-caliber family programming and guiding nonprofit growth. She combines sophisticated thought leadership, business acumen, and relationship-building skills to ensure programmatic and administrative excellence. Julie's responsible for the agency's vision, strategic vision, aligning program implementation and operations with its mission. She ensures long-term sustainability through partnership development, fundraising, and fiscal responsibility. Her leadership fosters a culture of equity and inclusion, dedicated to providing high-quality, expanded learning experiences within a people-centered environment. Ms. Julie Brooks. Excellent. Last but not least, we have Chef Mario Reyes, who began his culinary arts career in Toronto, Canada. He's worked in prestigious hotels all over the world, including Four Seasons, Sutton Place, King Edward Hotel. He also helped open up the La Meridian Hotel in Dallas, and also the Westbury, New York Hotel. And he explained an amazing story about working for Nestle for over 20 years in menu and product development, starting with a very small crew and growing exponentially to like over 150 chefs. He's currently a certified master chef and a director of culinary and innovation for Trio Community Meals. Mr. Chef Mario. All right. Check. Here we go. We're going to go ahead and get started. We know that sports, music, and food bring people together. Specifically, food brings us memories and time, right? I want to ask all of you to tell us a story about a home-cooked meal. So starting with Jaime, and I know a couple of you are going to have to share the mic. Sorry about that, but Jaime, the mic is right here. You want, or is it you? Oh, you guys all got one? Oh, I forgot. We did get one. Thank you, James and Chris. All right, Jaime, do you want to start?
I'm not one for public speaking, to be very clear about this. So I was corralled into doing this. Tammy will attest to this, that I didn't want to share a recipe. And part of that reason is that recipes are very personal. Recipes are special to households. I learned to cook from my mom. My mom learned to cook from her mom. And When I was asked to make a contribution, I think I declined 7 or 8 times. But Tammy, as she said, is persistent. And she kept haranguing me, probably the kindest word I can say, to contribute something. So I spoke with my family about contributing a meal, a very special meal to me, which is a beef tongue meal. This meal is special because my mom would make it for us whenever we came to visit her and whenever we left. When we'd come to visit her, it was comida de llegada. It was the visiting, coming home. And whenever we left, it was the comida de despedida, our going away. Now, what was particularly relevant to us is that every time we left, my mother would give us a blessing, send us on our way. And that was, for us, our last meal. And I remember this most profoundly when the anniversary of my mother's death came around. And I thought of that meal. And the last time she said, "Go with God." Meals for me are what bring family together. Whether it is a small meal like a sopita, a small little simple pasta-based meal, or whether it's an elaborate meal, whether it's a tamalada, where we all get together and bring the family. Meals bring people together, and they allow us to have a shared experience, one that we can pass on from one generation to the next. Now, with my mom, like most of us, we never wrote down our recipes. It was just a pinch of this, a smell of that. It was one of those things that we learned by making mistakes. And the one thing that I learned from my mom and my dad, who was also a really fantastic cook, was that it was okay to make a mistake. You learn from mistakes. And so, when I think about cooking, I think about family. I think about the generations. I think about the travels and the challenges that we've had over the years. And I'm really, really grateful for the opportunity to share with you all the recipe that my mom shared with us. Look it up. It's probably the second best recipe that my mom taught me. Thank you.
Thank you, Jaime. Thank you for sharing that story with us, getting us all emotional. That was beautiful, beautiful story. Darlene, do you have, what kind of memory can you associate with food, family?
Thanks, Tammy, and thank you, Jaime. I'm really glad I get to go after that story. I got to say, I come from a very long line of bad cooks, and my mother, worked really hard to cook for us, but we always had some type of protein, which was usually Spam or sausage, potatoes, and then vegetables. But vegetables were canned vegetables. I grew up on canned vegetables. I grew up in a very small town in rural Alberta in Canada, so we didn't get to go to the supermarket very often. And all we had were canned vegetables. But in the summer, my parents had a garden in the backyard. And so we always had fresh vegetables in the garden. And I remember, every day it would be time to cook dinner. My mom would send us out to the garden to get certain vegetables. And I got to tell you, I love raw peas, and just picking even now, just thinking about it, pulling up the carrots, digging out the potatoes, and then the radishes. And to this day, you do not want me near a taco truck because I will eat every single radish there. And it just reminds me of that, because it was the only time that we really, as a family, got to have fresh vegetables was in the summers. And the summers, if you don't know where Edmonton is, it's really north in Canada. So we had about a month and a half of fresh vegetables a year. But I love salad, and I love just having that memory of picking the vegetables and having my mom or us create those meals for our family.
Amazing. Thank you, Darlene. All right, Anna, could you share your story with us, please?
Yes. So I'm from El Salvador, and I came to the U.S. when I was 11. So I recall, when my grandma, my maternal grandmother would come and visit. And the memory that comes is like my grandma standing on the stove with a comal, making pupusas. And me watching, going like, oh yeah, I'm gonna eat. And it's that memory, and it brings such a joy. Like I get so happy, even thinking about it right now. And my grandmother passed away, but even thinking about it, it makes me so happy. And I think what everyone was talking about, how it brings everyone together. So everyone will be around, like my mom, my siblings. We'll just be waiting for those pupusas to be ready and eat. And she had a specific way she would make the cabbage. It's like a pickled cabbage they put on top of the pupusas. And she would put a little bit of jalapeno. And to this day, we always go like, oh, como la abuelita. Lo haces como la abuelita. And it's just the beautiful memory. Even my mother and my sister, who are the great cooks, I don't cook much, they still do it. And, it tastes like grandma's up to a point. And then we're like, no está como la abuelita, but they're doing. So that's the best memory, having those pupusas, being around the family, and having that moment where you all come together. And, we have that tradition, so, yeah.
Thank you so much, Ana. You're making me hungry. I want pupusas. All right, Julie.
Yeah. I wanted to add for a second, my team did a really gorgeous, fancy bio, but Woodcraft Rangers, by the way, I just want to say thank you, for this project, to be able to give voice to so many folks and so many stories, and it really just is very beautiful. We serve, and members of our team are here today that helped you on this, so thank you to Andrea and Adriana and Lizette, and but to be able to hear the voices, and so I just want to say thank you for that too. So we've been in Los Angeles for 5 generations, right? So we have deep roots in a lot of these communities. But for myself, it's interesting. This was actually a hard exercise too, for different reasons, because I have a complicated relationship with my own family of origin, right? So different too. But so when I got married, I inherited a wonderful mother who was a very good cook. Mine was not so good at cook. And one of the things that she always does, so I'm from a small town in Kentucky originally. And so breakfast is big. I don't know if you know, right? Breakfast in the South is really big. So her kind of signature thing is when we visit biscuits and gravy and lots of bacon, right? All of those things. And she uses that, right, in a couple of ways, right? So similar to when we come visit, right, it's always, she uses it as a prolonged reason to have us sit around in the kitchen, right? So with so many, right, different elements to it. The biscuits take forever, but it gives us time, right, to have a second or a third or a fourth cup of coffee and sit there and talk, and right. And then she also uses it, right, in moments that I really remember, right? So when my husband and I got married, right, so she would have the entire bridal party over and all of our best friends and closest family members, right, for this special Southern breakfast. One person missed it, is still upset with me 20 years later that he didn't get my mother-in-law's Southern breakfast. And she'll even, when she comes here, she'll even make it for friends here, right? So it's a really special memory that anchors special moments for us too.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Julie. Thank you for sharing that. All right, Chef Mario.
There you go. First of all, thank you. Thank you, Tammy, for allowing me to be here. Thank you. I tell you, I'm humbled to be here. It's incredible. I think exactly like you said, it's to be able to just put something together, to share ideas, to share recipes, to be able to put all together, all different cultures. It's amazing. I got a call from Tammy about quite a while back, and it was, we would love for you if you can incorporate a recipe. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm busy. I'm all over the place, and I kind of kept on pushing it back, and then we finally connected, and we're like, when she told me the whole story, what it was, really the whole reason, and what the whole background of what it was gonna be, it was amazing. So thank you for allowing me to put a recipe there, which is actually, there's 2 things that goes into cooking. There's an ingredient and there's a recipe. It goes back to exactly, from the beginning. I think everybody's talking about it, your parents, your family. My mother, growing up in Toronto, it's amazing. Alberta, just growing up in Toronto, Canada. Coming from school, it's a necessity. We don't have to go to work. We all had to go help out the family and stuff like that. I would come in. I would go to school, come in and just go actually wash dishes. And it was just this little restaurant that was not far from downtown Toronto. And we used to go there. It was the Old Fish Market, actually. And I used to go and just wash dishes. And I used to bring rice. And I apologize. My mother used to have rice at home because that's what she could afford. And I used to honestly, shucking oysters and everything, bring some of the proteins home. Some of the, whatever we were able, the chef would give us anything, I would bring it home and try to incorporate it with the protein itself. There was always rice. Eventually we added chicken. My mother had chicken and rice. And then we added chicken, and then eventually we added some different proteins such as sausage and all this. And that's the reason why I wanted to share, actually. The recipe that I have in there is the paella. And the reason itself is the background itself is the rice and chicken and sausage. And what else can you put in there? You can put mussels, shrimp, or anything at all. So that's the reason why I wanted to share that recipe with you there. That's kind of, going into the food itself. I think we all have a background where we come from and what our parents actually had. But in the industry itself, one of the biggest things that I remember and will never forget is actually garlic. And I tell you why. It's doing my apprenticeship at the Four Seasons Hotel in Toronto. A mentor that passed away years and years ago, Neil Skilson was my chef. If you make a mistake, if you don't follow the orders, it's tough in the kitchen. It is tough. If you don't do exactly what it was supposed to be, you had a choice. You go peel garlic or clean the freezer. It was simple as that. You go clean the freezer and fridges and everything that will take you 4 hours, or you want to just smell like garlic for 1 hour. And that's exactly what it was. So I chose garlic. I'm not going to lie to you. I chose garlic itself. So every single time, you have no idea when I go to Restaurant Depot, I love those garlic that's peeled already. So it is, honestly. Everywhere I go, every single recipe that I do throughout the whole world, wherever I go, it's always garlic in my mind itself. And I make sure I incorporate garlic into it because it's a good ingredient, key ingredient in the meal. So that's it.
Thank you so much, Chef. Thank you. All right, so as mentioned, I had to twist Jaime's arm in order to him to be in this cookbook. I'm telling you, I had to ask him like 100 times. I caught him on a good day, and I was like, look, you better, no, joking. No, he finally agreed to it. I'm telling you, he would not do it for the longest, and he's like, no, I don't want to be in this spot. Nah. I'm like, come on, you're the GM of Department of Aging, and Department of Aging, Woodcraft Rangers Alliance for a Healthier Generation are on the book. Like, it's our book. So you have to be a part of this. So he felt compelled, and but there's a good reason why. And I want you to share a little bit about your recipe that's actually in the book, if you will.
Making beef tongue now I think is something that people in the upper echelons aspire to have. Everyone wants the parts that, when I grew up, were the parts that were disposable. Oxtail, incredibly expensive now. Back then, it was the cheapest piece of meat you could get. When we came here, I shared with Tammy earlier, my first 3 meals in California were eggs. We traveled from Juarez to El Paso to Los Angeles, and we had eggs. And I remember there were 7 of us in our family. We moved into the projects. And my table was the stove lid laid out, the 3 little ones. That's where we ate. And we ate eggs. And it was, I remember my dad, a lot of nostalgia here, but I remember my dad would spice up the eggs by throwing a hot dog. And that was a big thing. We had hot dogs. We had a protein with our protein. And, but the tongue for me was one of those things that it was a piece of meat that you didn't eat if you were from a particular echelon of society. But it's what we grew up with. It's a big chunk of meat. and it was able to feed a whole family. But the thing is, it took forever and a day to make tongue, and it wasn't an easy process. It was an incredibly hot process. You have to peel the tongue when it is blistering hot. If you let it cool down, it's a nightmare. And as a kid, working with my mom, cooking the tongue, that's probably the part that I hated the most. Chef Mario talks about the garlic. Absolutely true. But peeling the tongue when it was blistering hot was really hard. But every time that I do it, I think of my mom. My mom making tortillas, my mom making the rice, my mom making the tongue, my mom feeding her children, and never once complaining about what she had to do for us. That comal was hot. I remember burning my hands time and time again, making the tortillas, making them wrong. And so for me, when if you look at the recipe, you'll see it plated. My mom never plated food like that. It was cut, sliced, boom, there you go. You've got your tortillas. Enjoy the meal. So for me, the beef tongue represents, I guess, a fundamental paradigm shift in the way we see food. What was once disposable, what was once less valued, is now something that is prized and esteemed. I think just buying a tongue is upwards of $30 to $35 now. It's almost impossible to find it. I made some oxtail for Christmas, and I ordered 2 oxtails. And I figured it'd be like maybe $15. It was $40 a piece. And I'm like, wow, who would have thought? The scraps that we ate are now the things that people aspire to have.
Thank you for sharing that. And I will tell you, it's an extensive recipe. It took up like 5 to 7 pages of that book. I'm telling you, because it's a lot. It's a lot to cook beef tongue. I had no idea, never tried it, never had, the recipe. But when you look at it, you really appreciate it because of the extensive work that actually goes into making it. So thank you so much for sharing that, Jaime. Darlene, you are one of our biggest, you have 2 service areas, aging service areas within the Department of Aging Network. And I just want to ask you, how important is, serving food to seniors through congregate and home delivered meal programs and food insecurity? What does all this mean to you, just kind of full circle with being a part of this project and challenge?
Thank you, Tammy. Yeah, so St. Barnabas has been working with older adults since 1908. I am not the founder, just in case you're wondering, and I have been asked that before. But when we are working with our older adults, we really look at the cultural relevance of food, how it affects them. In the county of Los Angeles, 1 in 5 older adults are food insecure. And so this is a really, really big problem because it affects their daily life. Not only if you don't have food, does it cause impairment of your cognitive resources, it affects your health. So you are more likely to suffer from dementia and Alzheimer's. Your health suffers physically, more likely to have heart issues, autoimmune disorders, bone disorders. And so that has a real effect on whether you're also seeking medical health. So we're putting a strain on our whole healthcare system because people aren't getting healthy, nutritious food. For a lot of the people who come to our centers, we serve hot lunches 5 days a week. We also deliver meals to people's homes when they're not able to come to centers 5 days a week. Sometimes it's the only meal they have a day. So just imagine that, the only meal they have. But they get the meal. And not only are they benefiting from having healthy food, but they're benefiting from the social interaction. They're benefiting because they're able to come and exercise, to work out, to learn how to take care of themselves. So we're decreasing the chances of them having health issues. We're decreasing the chances of them having dementia or depression. and we're giving them nutritious meals to eat every day. So it really, while it's a simple thing having a meal, it seems, it's not. It affects their whole well-being. And that's really important for us to think of, not only for older adults, but caregivers, for young people as well, to make sure that we are providing nutritious meals for people every day.
Thank you so much, Darlene. Important message. Thank you. Thank you. Anna, I have to tell you, my grandfather, and share this with all of you, I wrote this whole script, but it's out the window now. But just wanted to share with you that my grandfather, who has passed away, my grandmother, my grandfather were like the Notebook. They were the most important, coolest people to me in my entire world, planet. And my great-grandmother was even, like, she was the goddess. But my grandfather always wanted me to create a book. He always said he wanted me to write a book. And so with this project, I was able to do this. And thank you. But I do want to say, it's not my book. It's not my book. I want to explain to you all that it's really all of your book. It's all the stories out here in the audience. It's all the book. It's all the collection of recipes from our middle school students, our high school students, and our older adults that made this book. It's not my book. My name is mentioned at the back just for helping to make the contest happen. But to be honest with you, this is not my book. This is a collection of everybody's history and knowledge and book. And now I have Goosebumps. We have it in 70 libraries on the shelves. So that to me is just so exciting. I want you to explain to everyone, if they're motivated to write a book, how would they be able to get a book on the shelf in the library?
Okay, so for Los Angeles Public Library, with Central Library and then 70 locations, so what you want to do, we do have a suggestion form. So you can either do it online, or you could go in person and ask for one, and that's where you'll note, this title written by this person, and that's where you put that information. And then that gets submitted to our catalog department, where they review the request, and then they will determine if there's something they want to add to the collection or not. One of the things that now that's very good, you can also, if it's not a printed item, you can also request it for the online versions. We have a great selection of digital books, and that's an easier way to get it for that format. So that's something to keep in mind as well. So if you wanted, the easiest way to get something is for the online version, and we have different providers. But if you want the printed version of the book, that's the process. You will have to submit a suggestion form, or you can also send, and I actually printed this document, and I'll put it in the back, or I think someone mentioned somewhere, and there's a resource table, so I'll have that out there, where you could send the book for review, for consideration for the library to add it to the collection. So that's one way to do it.
It's amazing. Thank you so much, Anna. Appreciate that. Thank you. Now, Julie, I'm going to switch your question up on you last minute.
Uh-oh.
Just because we kind of touched on, food insecurity and how important food is with our older adults. So I know I'm going to throw you a curveball.
I figured you might. Yeah. I saw it coming.
I just, because we kind of already touched on your recipe. Yeah. Julie's recipe is actually in the book. It's amazing. She kind of touched on it a minute ago, but I want you to really get into that.
I did a pork barbecue that my grandmother made in the book. So used to be all day in the percolator, before there were air fryers or Instapots, right? Do you remember those? Right? Pressure cooker. So anyway, but Woodcraft, right? We are serving lots of communities and families where there is deep food insecurity for young people as well, right? Childhood hunger is still pervasive, right? Across not only Los Angeles, but worldwide. In our programs, right, we describe our programs as after school, but what's an important component, and this is thanks to support from the state of California and from some federal meals programs. For example, right now we are in the process or opening 65 locations for summer camp programs that serve over 100 schools, 15,000 young people every year. My chief program officer, Danny Salas, is right there.
Hold on, we got to give an applause for that. Mm-hmm. 65. Wow, that's insane.
And what's really important about summer programs is this federal summer meals program is part of that. So food insecurity among young people rises in the summer specifically because the federal meals program, including daytime programs, the free and reduced lunch program is a huge, and now in the state of California, we've committed to universal meals, You don't have to qualify for that program. Every child gets a free breakfast or lunch in the state of California. However, after school, is a period where that is not as perennial, So we in after-school programs that are publicly funded in the state of California, which are ones that we provide on school sites throughout Los Angeles County, have snack and supper programs. So kids also get fed in those programs after school. But the summer has always been a time where, if kids aren't in school, where are those meals coming from that they rely on throughout the year? So with in 2021, the state of California committed to universal summer programs as well, which was not only a huge childcare issue for so many families, That was really, really intense for a long time. Before that happened, we would have 4 parks-based summer programs. It was all that we could do as an agency. Right now, we are serving 15,000 kids. And so not only are those kids getting, enrichment and activities and those families have, but they're getting meals every day, which is really critical. In the pandemic, when there was additional assistance going to families, childhood hunger was cut in half, Unfortunately, that didn't sustain, from a federal perspective after the pandemic. But just as you spoke about seniors, kids can't learn, they can't function, they can't, if they're not nourished in their bodies too, So we are proud that every day, 25,000 kids are getting meals in after school programs that wouldn't be getting those. And all summer long, those kids that similar, Just sometimes school is the only time that they have reliable meals, So now, in addition to that, we do other things, So like during the pandemic, I think it's really notable, this kind of addressing food insecurity as a holistic part of our community response in our programs is not something new, During the pandemic, we actually were sending meal kits home to families, laddering it to cooking programs, to culturally relevant cooking programs, so that we were getting more meals to those kids when they weren't at school. Right now, we know a lot of families have increased food insecurity due to the immigration fears, that are happening too. So there's a lot of mutual aid that's also going to support that, because if families don't feel safe to go to these programs where they rely on, then you're going to have greater food insecurity too. So it's a really significant issue among young people for a variety of reasons.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Julie. And sorry for the curveball, but I'm not sorry, because that was an important message. I appreciate you. Chef Mario, you have an amazing story that you shared with me that I'm so blessed and grateful that you actually did share with me about how you got into the chef world. Would you, and you have a chef out there in the audience too. You have a Master Chef Junior right here in the audience.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so she's listening to you. She's listening to you right now. So please share with us your story of how you actually became a chef. A master chef.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Tammy. It's really cooking itself. I think it's everything. Going back to the cookbook that you have, going back to eating. Everybody has to eat. We all have to have, food on our table and everything itself. But one of the things itself is everybody can go in to be a lawyer. Everybody wants to be a doctor. Everybody wants to continue stuff like that. But going back to growing up in Toronto. My mother was a dishwasher. This how I started. My mother was, once again, working. That's just, my father was a carpenter. My mother was a dishwasher. And I remembered around 1:30 in the morning, my father going to, actually, it's crazy enough. It's a story that's crazy, because my daughter right now lives in the hotel where I worked at, which is crazy, which is now it's condominiums. So it's a crazy story. But my mother used to be a dishwasher there, and my father used to go, like, say, late at night to go pick her up. In the back, they would sold these cooks in there with having this cigarette and having these little baker hats. Little small baker hats itself. And I always said I want to wear a hat. I'm still wearing a hat. I always said I want to wear the hat. It was just a crazy thing that I always said that one day I just want to wear a hat. And I started from then on to what he called, once again, just going in and going to school and washing dishes and stuff like that. And then my mother obviously worked there for a while until she got sick, unfortunately. And then at the age of 16, I left home. Necessity. I just left home with $300 Canadian in my pocket. And it was just my dream to go and become a chef. It was something I wanted to do against my father's will. I left home. It was something that I left home. My father didn't talk to me for a couple of years. And it's because back then, remember, being a cook was domestic for a man. It was just not something that people would not do it. So it was very, very, very hard. So, when I kept them following. I said, I'm going to go and left home at 16, $300 Canadian, went to Paris. I wanted to go. There was a gentleman, Mark McCune, that used to be actually he had a connection in Paris. And he wanted to support me and say this and that. I went to work at Le Bistro, next to the train station in Paris, right downtown Paris. And I lived upstairs, worked downstairs, learned all my trade and everything itself, and then went back to Toronto, and wanted to just go on with my apprenticeship. I worked in Paris for almost 3 years. Did all my stuff that I needed to do, and I said, after this, I'm going to school. I want to become, I want to certify my position, my culinary career. And I went on and on and on, and from then on, obviously, culinary school, work all over the place, and then 1993, I moved to Toronto. From Toronto to Dallas to open Le Méridien Hotel. 1997, I wanted to become a master chef, so I got my certification. 1997, I won. 1993 is actually going back to cookbook. I wrote my first cookbook in 1993. And I just kept on going. It was just something that I wanted to do. It was something that itself, and I tell everybody out there, it's an industry itself that it's a beautiful industry. And from then on, like I said, worked all over this and that. I can go on, but the most important thing, the most incredible thing that I love what I do is the fact that about 5-6 years ago, unfortunately, I got sick, and I shared that with Tammy. I got sick, and I left the industry for about 3 years. And I could do two things. I could just go play golf that I love, retired, or go somewhere else. Elliot North America Trio reached out to me. And actually, at that time, it was Bateman. And reached out to me, and I wanted to give back. That's all I wanted to do. I said, I've done it. I've done enough. Thank you, God. Thank you, my guidance. I've done it. But now it's time to get back. And that's how I joined, to be able to go back to what you're saying about kids, about seniors and everything. So I joined actually Trio to be able to get back and share my passion, share my recipe, share my thing with the elder adults. And that's the reason why. So I joined, going 7 years. It's not just 5 years, 7 years now. And I joined to be able to become, and everybody will say, why didn't you own a restaurant? Why didn't you have this? Why didn't you have that? No, I'm happy. I love to be able to come up and be able to make a recipe, a paella, or romesco, or anything that itself that the adults, the seniors right now, the seniors can share, can eat, and I enjoy doing that, what I do now.
Thank you so much, Mario. Let's give a round of applause for all of our panelists. Thank you so much for sharing your stories with us today. We really appreciate you, and we're going to go ahead and segue into the next part of our program. So thank you again. Thank you. All right, so next we are going to bring up Kadrina to please, she's our social worker 3 at the Department of Aging, and she's going to introduce some special guests that are going to honor some people today. So with that, I would like to bring up, I'll hold those for you.
Give yourselves a hand again just for being here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We're excited. Now is the time to honor and recognize those who spent just dedicated time and energy and devotion to this great endeavor. So we're so thankful. I do have certificates that I will present on behalf of various elected officials. However, if you are a staff member and you would like to come up for a photo op when you hear me say the name, just you can do so. But without further ado, we're so happy, we're so grateful and thankful that we actually have an elected official here in the flesh. We're really grateful for Council Members Hugo Soto Martinez for being here. Let's clap our hands for him. He is council member of District 13. And so at this time, he's going to come and he'll announce our next presenter, and then I'll come with the remainder of the presentations. Thank you so much, Mr. Soto Martinez. Check, check.
Thank you so much, Kadrina and Tammy. And good afternoon? Yes, buenas tardes. Good afternoon to everyone. My name is Councilmember Soto Martinez from the 13th District. So if you're in East Hollywood, Westlake, Silver Lake, Echo Park, Atwater, I'm very happy to be your representative. And yeah, I see some hands going up. But I do want to thank a few folks for putting this together because it should be a day of celebration, a day that we should all be very full of joy. And so, of course, Kadrina, Tammy, the Department of Aging here with Jaime Pacheco, the Alliance for Healthier Generation, Woodcraft Rangers, and Jewish Family Services LA. We know it's a team that helped put this together, but once again, please give them a huge round of applause for all the work that they're doing. And for the panelists here today, thank you for sharing all your stories. I became very nostalgic, just thinking about the memories that, paralleled yours with my family and my mom and so many others. But it's what a wonderful display of the city's diversity to put together such an incredible cookbook. We know that so many were part of putting this together, and as we were hearing so many of the stories from the panelists, I keep hearing a lot of folks in the crowd going, yeah, you can relate to that story. So it means many of you among the crowd are also very passionate about cooking. And very similar to a lot of the stories, I was very blessed that my mom, who was one of 6 kids, was the one that got the gift. You know what I'm talking about. There's always one person that has that gift, and that was my mom. And so, and it shows, todos estamos gorditos en la casa, because you're going to have 2 times or 3 times. I want to sort of just take this moment of privilege and say, my mom also had 6 kids, and it's yours truly is the one that has the gift for the 6 kids. And it's not because, well, actually, I always help cook for my younger brothers and sisters. When my mom would go off to work, I was always there cooking for them. But in reality, in the Mexican household, we usually give it to like las mujeres, like the women have to be the cooks. But I love cooking, and recently I started writing down all the recipes from my mom. And as you can imagine, she does not have it written down anywhere. I was like, Mom, what's the ratio between guajilla and pasilla? She's like, pues no sé. Just it depends on the flavor. So I'm trying to get it as accurate as possible. But anyways, but I just wanted to say that just to relate to everyone here today. But I do want to recognize a couple of folks today. I know we have a lot of certificates. But I'd like to bring up first, are we bringing folks up for pictures? Okay, so we want to first honor St. Barnabas Senior Services for their work.
Thank you so much.
We can take a photo, or I have one more person I want to And then also want to bring up Hortensia Anderson, if she's here today. Hortensia Anderson? Yeah, she's in the crowd, right on. Please come up, Hortensia, and please make sure to check out the book at one of our 70 locations across the city. And if you don't have a library card, get one today.
Are people taking pictures?
Yeah, and now I'd like to bring up Carlos Penilla from Senator Smallwood Cuevas' office. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Councilman. Thank you so much.
Hello, my name's Carlos Penilla, the senior field rep for Senator Smallwood Cuevas, and I have some certificates for the team. If you could come up when I call your name. Lisette, is she here? Tammy Williams. Adriana. Madeline? Okay. Tatiana? Jessica? Ricky? Josephine? Okay.
Thank you.
And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we do once again have several certificates from very selected officials. And so if you are here, I was told someone to come up, your staff, and you want to be a part of the photo op, please do so. And again, thank you so much, Councilmember Soto Martinez. Very much. You're invited to the cookout. We want to taste what you make. And so, and also this Representative Carlos Penilla of Senator Smallwood Cuevas. Thank you so much. A certificate from Council Member Nithya Raman, and it is presented to St. Barnabas Senior Services. Thank you. And it's signed by all of the council members. Now we have several certificates from Councilmember Isabel Jurado, Council District 14. And this one goes to Tatiana again, Coronero. Jessica Twomey. Yes, all for Jurado, yes. Here you are. And Adani Sanchez. Adani Sanchez. Adani? Keenan Davis. Yes. Yeah, there you are. Okay. And we also, Adriana Almazan. Lisette Milan. And finally, from Councilmember Jurado, Josephine Thomason. Oh, she's not. Let's see. Madeline Pena. These two are not here. Thank you. Okay, and now from Council District 5, Katie Yaroslavsky, we have Jaime Pacheco Orozco, our General Manager. Chef Mario Reyes, did he step away? Yes, thank you. Chef, he's probably cooking something up.
He's cooking right now.
Yeah, so. Julie Brooks, you're here. Ana Campos, and Darlene Kean. And that's from Councilmember Yaroslavsky's office. Thank you. Two more representatives. We have Council President Marquise Harris Dawson of Council District 8. This one goes to Sophia Jennings Hooks. All right, someone's coming. Oh, well, she's here. Awesome. And one more from Council President Dawson, Harris Dawson, to the Watts Labor Community Action Committee. This is, yes. Yes.
You're famous.
Thank you.
Oh, sure.
On behalf of Council President Harris Dawson, my name is Margaret Peters, and I'm the Senior Engagement Coordinator, and I wanted to make sure that we were here, or somebody was here from the office to congratulate you on this achievement. You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. So glad to have WLCAC here. If you could please stand for a picture. Ricky is going to take that picture. Thank you so much. In the middle. Thank you. All right, thank you so much. And last but certainly not least, we have, and if there's a representative, you can come at this time for Assembly Member of the 54th District, Mark Gonzalez. This goes to the Los Angeles Central Library, so if a representative can come on behalf of LAPL, the Central Library. Thank you. Thank you. Then we have a representative from, this goes to Woodcraft Rangers After School Organization. You can come. Los Angeles Department of Aging. Thank you. Yes. Thank you so much. Tammy, here you are. Thank you. And we have two more. Let's see. To the Alliance for a Healthier Generation, if a representative can come. Okay, not here. And last but not least, the Healthy Food Community of Practice. Okay, not here, so we'll take a photo. Thank you so much. Did we miss any other staff member? Just want to make sure we captured you all. Okay. Well, thank you so much. And again, grateful. Congratulations to everyone. Enjoy the rest of the day.